right, hello everyone. We're looking at the second part of the similarity questions. So we're now on the scale factor area questions, and you'll have 5 of these. Please do the first part, watch the first video, and do the first set of questions before you do this. This will be really hard if you have no clue what scale factor is going into this. So let's look at this. So I want to point something out. Let's say we've got a rectangle. Hold on 1 second. I just dropped my pen. Okay. So if we have a rectangle, okay, so let's say we got a rectangle here. And so what's going on with this, we have, I'll pick easy numbers for this example. If this is 2 and this is 3, we'll call this A, B, C, D, and this will be A, B, C, D with the dashes. If what I say is the scale factor from AB, I'm sorry, I have this backwards. You do what you're turning into on top. So if A dash B dash over AB is 2, the scale factor is 2. That means to go from AB into A dash B dash, you double everything up, okay? And whatever that scale factor is, so let me actually do it like this. Yeah, I'll keep it like that. So from here to here is 2, so double that, what do you get? Well, that'll be 4. Double this, what do you get? That'll be 6, okay? So make sure you get what's going on right there. Rewind it if you need to, pause it, try it yourself, think about it. What I'm saying, if the scale factor from this to go to that in terms of the sides is 2, that means you'll double up all the sides. So if this is 3 again, double it, you'll have 6. If this one is 2, double it, you'll have 4. All the sides you double, okay? However, what we're doing here is we're thinking about area. Now watch what's going to happen. You might think, oh, if I double all my sides, then whatever the area is, if I double the area, it'll also work out, right? So what we're saying is to go from here to here, you're just doubling everything when it comes to the sides. Okay, here's what's going to happen though. Let's figure out the area. Now to do area, all you need to do is you just need to multiply height times width. So just multiply these. What's 2 times 3? You got it. It is 6. Okay. Now, if we're just doubling things, what happens if you double 6? You get 12. Okay. However, is 12 the area of that? Well, let's think. What is 4 times 6? Well, 4 times 6 is actually 24. So the area over here is 24. So we doubled our sides, but somehow when doubling the area doesn't work. Here's why. Whatever the scale factor is for your sides, because area is squared, okay? This is 6 squared. If this was 2 inches and 3 inches, then this is 6 inches squared. If this is 4 inches, 6 inches, this is 24 inches squared. So what that means, if you had to multiply it by 2 to go with your sides, then to find area, what you need to do is you need to take that 2 and you need to square it. So what is 2 times 2? Well, that will be 4. And so that means you take whatever your area is and you multiply it by 4 and you'll get there. Okay? So whatever the scale factor is for the sides, you need to then square it to figure out the area. So let's jump into the problems that we have. And let's apply what I just did to these problems. I'll do at least 3. And so I think I've done enough that you have an idea of what we're doing. So right here we know that the area of this thing is 48, and the side on top is 8, and then the side on top is 2.8, and it says, what is the area of E? So what is the area right here? What is the area right there? Okay. So let's figure out, how do you go from 8 to 2.8? And remember, just take whatever you're turning it into and put it on top. and whatever you started with, put on bottom. And let's see what we get here. So let's do 2.8 divided by 8, and we get 0.35. So our scale factor when we're going from here to here is 0.35. Okay? Look at what you do. All you do is just take what you're turning it into, divide it by what you started with, and so the scale factor is 0.35. That's all there is to it. Simple. Now, let's figure out what the scale factor is for the area. So how do you turn 48 into the new area? And it's not by doing 0.35 to figure that out. So let me get this right here, box it so it's not, we see it's different. So to go, I'm going to get rid of this so it doesn't confuse what we're doing here. To go from here to here, you need to take 0.35 and you need to square it. Okay? So on this, you can type 0.35 times 0.35. On my calculator, I happen to have this right here, which is just square 0.35. And so when 0.35 gets squared, it's 0.1, so 0.1225. So that is the scale factor for taking the area. So just take 0.35 and you square it. So then that means we need to take 0.1225 and multiply it by 48. So 48 times 0.1225, and we get 5.88. So this area right here is 5.88. Okay, 5.88. Here's a roundabout way of doing this. If you want to double check, you can say, okay, 8 times what makes 48? And what you could do is you could say, oh, well, so go through this process. 8 times what makes 48? If it's somewhere decimal, this might make things a little bit harder, but most of the time you can just think 8 times 6 is 48. And then multiply 6 by the 0.35. So once again, if you're here and you have the answer, you're fine. Don't let what I'm doing confuse you further. But if I know that that has to be 6, I could do 6 times 0.35. This is just a different way of doing this that might make it easier for you. So this has to be 2.1. You see what I did there? I figured out, I know what the area is, so what times what makes that area? 8 times 6. Now let's take the scale factor for sides. Excuse me, 8 times 0.35 got me to 2.8. Let's do 6 times 0.35. And 6 times 0.35 gets me to 2.1. Now let's find the new area. So we'll do 2.8 times 2.1 to get the new area, and we get 5.88. So I know for sure that I did it right. I'm going to keep doing it using it this method for the other problems, but this is another way to do it. Whatever you did to this, find the missing side, do it to that side, and find your new area. So 5.88 seems to be an answer that works. It works going both ways. So let me type it in here. And it's happy with our answer. Let's do another problem. Okay, so for this one, we have 9 over to 7.2. And then our area is 54. And okay, so how does 9 turn into 7.2? So whatever you turned into, put it on top. Whatever you started with, put it in the bottom to find your scale factor. So pull up the calculator, and 7.2 divided by 9 equals 0.8. So the scale factor is 0.8. Now you have two methods of doing this. You either can figure out 9 times what will make the 54. And whatever that missing number is, multiply it by 0.8 to get the missing side, multiply the two sides, get the area. What I would prefer us to practice, though, what I think is, because there are ways where that could be really hard. what's consistent, let's take 0.8 and let's just square it. So 0.8 squared. So 0.8, let's square it. It equals 0.64. So the scale factor here is 0.64. So let's do 54 times 0.64. So 54 times 0.64, and we get an area of 34.56. So right here is 34.56. And everything is happy. Let's do one more question. All right, so this time we have the side, it's going from 20 to 15. The area right here is 160. What is the area in the missing area on the smaller rectangle? So we're going from 20 to 15. So remember, do what you turn it into over what it was to begin with. And 15 over 20, let's type that in the calculator. 15 divided by 20 is 0.75. So the scale factor for the sides is 0.75. So then in order to find the scale factor, for the areas, let's do 0.75 squared. So 0.75, when it's squared, it equals 0.56. So the scale factor is 0.56. So then let's do 160 times 0.56, and we get 89.6. So 89.6. Submit the answer. And I got it wrong. That's wonderful. I'm not willing to start it over, so I will just go back and look and figure out what went wrong. So we did 20. No, we did 15 divided by 20 to get our scale factor of 0.75. So I know that that's right. 0.75 is the scale factor we're supposed to use. And then when we square that, we get, I must have not been thorough enough, 0.5625. So 0.5625. Look at me, cutting corners, and I paid for it. So 0.5625 is what the scale factor is. I left off that 25. So if we do 160 times 0.5625, what do we get? We get not 89.6, but we get 90. So even though I would prefer for you to watch me do it perfect 3 times in a row, maybe this is helpful for you to see me get lazy, leave off some of the decimals, and end up paying for it and get it wrong. So 90 was supposed to be the correct answer. And see, that's what the answer should have been. It should have been 90. I was wrong. So don't do that. Make sure that you are thorough and you use the entire thing rather than rounding off to 0.56. It won't work if you round it off like that. So there we go. So there's how we do at least 3 of the problems. Go ahead and try this now. Follow the same thing that I'm doing. And if you have any questions or any issues, please feel free to email me and reach out for help.